So instead of just saying that who that celebrity guest is, I have few cues for audience. And my request to you, hear all 5 cues. And then guess who the celebrity is. And one disclaimer, no prizes for getting it right. So, yep. So first clue, he is a footballer, but not from Goa. I know Goa loves football and footballer, but he is not from Goa. He is, till very recently, he was the youngest Indian footballer to score a goal in international match. But as we all know, records are meant to be broken. So his record got broken, and now he's the second youngest international Indian soccer player who scored a goal in an international match. He made his professional debut with a footballing club at the age of 17. So born in 1976, made his debut in 1993. Another iconic footballer. Generally, we have this professional rivalry, so you very rarely hear somebody praising another person, but I am Vijayan again. He's from Kerala, one of the iconic Indian footballer. He had said that this person, the footballer that I'm talking about, he is God's gift to Indian football. Any guesses? Before I give fifth clue, because fifth clue has got the answer. So out of these 4 cues, any guess who this? You got it right, Mukund. You had the question paper. So, and he is called as Sikkim Sniper. So Sikkim Sniper had the answer, but Mukund. So now, please join me in welcoming our very own Mr. Bhaichung Bhutia on the dais, and here he is. Pleasure to have you. Okay. So just to give, while I give few cues to you now, I'll stand and then let me introduce, not that he needs introduction, but still. So he is Padma Shri. So in fact, I forgot to call him Padma Shri Mr. Bhutia. So my apology. Yeah. He is the first Indian footballer to play 100 international match, or rather to don Indian blue jersey in more than 100 international matches. He is not called Sikkim Sniper just because somebody wanted to call him. This title was given to him because of his scoring abilities. And he had scored more than 40 goals in international matches playing for India. He is the only Indian to be included in Asian Hall of Fame. His club coach, Mr. P.K. Banerjee, had once said that Bhaichung Bhutia at 5 feet 7 inches, that is his height, can head over 6 feeters. So no matter how tall you are, 6 feet plus, Bhaichung can still jump over your head and head the ball. So that is Bhaichung for all of us. He is the first Indian soccer player to endorse an international sporting brand at the age of 21. I can go on and on and on, but then we will not come to the discussion that I plan to have. Okay, Bhaichung, my first question to you, in growing up years, we are all told by our parents, boss, बच्चे पढ़ोगे लिखोगे होगे खराब, पढ़ोगे और खेलोगे कूदोगे तो होगे खराब. Did your parent or anybody in your family suggest that?
No, I think obviously when I started playing football, that's 80s. I think every parent wanted their son or daughters to study and become a bureaucrat or something. So, and where I come from, Sikkim, Northeast, there's only one thing that was all the kids did around was to play football. But no footballers from Sikkim had made a career or made anything great in terms of, made a career. So I think for me as well, my parents put me into boarding school and obviously wanted me to focus on studies and to go on to be a bureaucrat. But things changed quite a bit. Also, sometimes the luck plays a part. I think India started with Sports Authority of India in 1986 after they hosted Asian Games in 82. And we were the first batch, the government of India, on that scheme. We were selected in football and given the scholarship. And that's how I think my parents were quite flexible in letting me play, and that's where it started.
So I knew the answer that obviously even if they said you did not listen to them, had you listened to them, we would not have you with us today. And not that by hearing our parents we became Nawab, but obviously we also did not become Kharab. So we are somewhere in the middle between Nawab and Kharab, and that's why I'm here with you. And so thank you for joining us at our 25-year celebration. So I was doing some Googling about Bhaichung Bhutia. And what I came across is that your footballing career spanned over 17 years, which is quite long, and in terms of longevity in a sports like football. So what really kept you going for 17 years doing same thing every day, every moment?
17 years was for the national team. In fact, it's 20 years entire professional. And I had a wonderful professional career. I started with East Bengal in 93 when I was just 17. In fact, one thing I do regret in my life is I did not play in Goa. I had an opportunity, I had few offers, but that's something I always wanted to do. A lot of my close friends playing in Calcutta clubs came down and signed with Goan clubs. And I had one or two opportunities that came in, but it didn't work. So that's something which I regret. But I think any players who played in Goa, I think everybody says great things. They've had a great support from people of Goa. And we had great clubs from Goa. Salgokas, I think, was one. Dempos, Churchill Brother. I think these were 2-3 iconic sporting clubs in Goa when I played. I think these were the few clubs, iconic clubs from Goa that actually produced a lot of footballers, not just for Goa, but country as well. So, yeah, coming back to your question, I think such a long 20 years of professional and 16 years for India, I think it's also, you start early because I started very early. I started at the age of 17 when I started playing professional. So I retired in 2011. So one thing was, obviously I started early. So when you start early, then you get a longer life. Apart from that, yes, I think it's important in today's life that you stay very, very fit, healthy. You need to have that discipline. I think one of the biggest example in Indian football today is Sunil Chhetri. I think at the age of 38, he's still scoring goals. And because I think he's very professional as a player, I've seen him play. He played under me when I was captain. And you could see that dedication and professionalism with him, about working, keeping himself fit, making sure that he's eating right things, making sure he's training well. Apart from training, he's doing his own extra work in terms of going to gym, maintaining his health. So I think, that's very, very important. And sadly, I think in my generation and before that, before my generation, players like I.M. Bijayan, Bruno Coutinho, lot of players. Before that, even Brahmanand, sir, I think they didn't get that kind of support, or even we also did not get in so much the kind of support, the guidance, what the players in today's generation get through ISL. So I think that's been one of the reasons why you see a lot of players right now very focused, professional and fit compared to a lot of my generation and earlier generation. So I think fitness, keeping yourself fit, just not on the field, but also having a disciplined life and make sure that apart from your ground, on the ground, off the ground, discipline is very, very important for yourself to keep fit, healthy, so that you can have a long career.
So good, thanks. Is it true that you refused certain offers, and those were good international offers at a very early age? And I'll just cite some of them. So such as an offer to play in Malaysia, in Singapore. You refused to go to Japan for a trial, saying that I am not yet ready to walk along with Zico, the great Brazilian footballer. Is it?
No, I did have offers from Singapore. I think J League was just starting when we were playing. And I think J League was one of the best, not just in Asia, but I think entire world. J League was a very highly spoken league. And I felt that obviously it's very early for me to go to J League at that moment because I wasn't ready as a player. And it wasn't an offer as such, but I think there were talks about going and having some trials in J League. But I had some offers from Singapore club, which I did not sign. I went on to stay here. But later on, I think in 2003-4, I went and played in Malaysia for 2 years.
No, but वो जो नमक हलाल का एक famous जो joke है कि I talk in English, I walk in English, although so in your case, you obviously you have lived football, you have eaten football, breathed football. So if I can ask you, how did football help in shaping you as a person? Obviously football we know par excellence, but how did that help you in shaping you as person, Bhaichung Bhutia, the person that we...
No, I think main thing with sports, anybody who's played sports, one thing you tend to have is, the discipline in life. That is very, very important. But I think with sports, what really helps you is after your retirement also, I think it does help you. It does make mentally very, very strong. So, football is all about challenges. You go in the morning, wake up in the morning, you're challenging your teammates, defenders to win. You have matches, tournaments there, you're challenging the opponents to beat. But you have great results, you have bad results. So I think sports and football, what is taught me is to keep looking ahead, look forward to it. And after my football retirement, I've gone and done a lot of things apart from football in terms of businesses, but few did not do well. But it does not let you down because what you look is always forward, and you always want to see challenges ahead rather than what you've done or what you've had a bad experience. You tend to forget because you've been a sports person, you've had bad results, and you've got to prepare for the next one. So I think those are things which teaches you in life.
Oh, good. So I can see JP, Pallavi, all my colleagues looking at me कि HCCB के बारे में कब बात करेगा Bhaichung से. So I'm doing that. JP, don't get angry. I'm going to talk about HCCB growth behavior and what are the similarities if there are any. So we have as Coca-Cola company. What we call growth behavior. So there are 4 growth behaviors that we have identified, and all of us are working around those growth behaviors. So first growth behavior is curious. Okay. So if I can ask you, as a footballer or sporting star, how did you look at curiosity, or how did curiosity shape your game, your footballing career, your approach to sports, if it did in any way?
I think it's very important to be curious because you're always trying, it puts you under some kind of pressure. And I think in sports, you speak to any sports person, successful sports person, I think would always say that pressure is a good thing, but you need to manage to handle it. So I think curiosity is something which always, like in football, we're always curious about the other team, what are their strategy, what is our strategy, and that makes you plan, focus, and also I think prepare well. And it does not make you relax. So I think that is very, very important. And a lot of players I've seen can't manage that, and they get into being nervous, so that's where they can't perform. But I think if you can manage it and just focus on what you can do, what you've been training, and make sure that you deliver that on the ground, that's where I think successful team and successful players tend to achieve that.
So, JP, I have asked one question on one first growth behavior. And before I go to next question, I'm curious to know, was it your curiosity that pushed you to try your feet at the dance floor, which is Jhalak Dikhla Ja, the dance reality show in 2009 that you won?
No, I think Jhalak Dikhla Ja was nothing curious about it. Okay. I think it was just that Leander Pace, who is a good friend of mine, I think put it on me and he left. Okay. He had signed a contract. In fact, Leander had signed a contract with the channel and the show. And then his date did not happen because he had to go and play some Grand Slam. And then he was under pressure because he'd already signed. The best thing he said is, he called me one day and he said, Bhaichung, I'm going to give you something great. I said, what? Saying, I'm going to give you something great thing to experience. I said, tell me first. He's saying, I'm putting you in some dance show. So that is how it came to be. It wasn't my thing. So Leander actually put it on me and then left.
So, Bhaichung, Shall I ask you, Bhaichung, जरा एक झलक हमको भी तो दिखला जा.
वो होगा नहीं, वो definitely होगा नहीं. In fact, Jhalak is it's also about voting. So I didn't definitely win through my dance talent. I won it through votes. So
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Obviously. So our second growth behavior is empowered. And I can say that all of us are empowered to do what we want to do, which is in the best interest of business. We are empowered to make mistakes. And we are empowered to learn from our mistakes and then take the next step that is required to do to run our business, support our business. So in sporting arena and more so in football team, you captain Indian football team for a long time. So two sides to the question: were you empowered by the football management or Indian Football Association, as they are known, to take your decisions, field decisions on field, and did you empower your players to, like that कौन सी मूवी है जिसमें वो बोलता है सिमरन जा जी ले अपनी जिंदगी. So did you ever say any of your players ki boss, go play your natural game, don't worry about the outcome?
No, in fact, in an organized football team, I think no coach will say, go up football khel ke aao tumhara style mein. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
Because, in a team, I think, and especially football is a completely team sport.
Yeah.
The run which I'm making, if my other player does not understand that run and doesn't release that ball, then I make that run, it goes waste. So you train for that, the entire strategy to tactical thing. You work every day on the ground. So I think that's where we get into it. But yes, apart from that, also a lot of times the result doesn't go.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean that it's wrong. But with football, I think the best thing is what you train as a tactical thing. And for us, manager is so important. Like cricket, I don't think coaches have big role. It's a captain that takes the call, who's going to bowl, what kind. But in football, I think for any team to succeed is the combination of good manager and good players.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the manager gets his entire idea of tactical formation. If you look at a lot of teams today, I think you'll see teams playing different formation. You'll have 4 defenders, some are having 3 defenders, 5 midfield, 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2. So these are all, I think, the manager's idea and brains he'll have to bring in. Looking at the kind of quality players he's got, you've got to train and play according to the system and the formation, looking at the quality. And that's where I think your expertise of the manager comes in. So yes, it does not happen like, Jao Simran apna ji ke aao. It's only about ja ke jeet ke aao is for sure, but we can't play our own thing. We'll have to play, keep our disciplines there.
Okay. Our third growth behavior is agile. In our context, yes, I can go on and on talking about agility, but in our context, agile is responding to the situation at a speed that is needed. So fast decision making, responding to market requirements as quickly and as rightly. So while speed is important, but we don't lose the sight of bigger picture, and more importantly, we don't go through there taking a shortcut. So for us, this is the path, and no matter what situation is, we will take that straight road, no wrong turns, no jumping the red lights. So bringing it to sporting arena, and obviously I will again quote this, your East Bengal coach P.K. Banerjee, who said that at 5 feet 7 inches. So this is all about your agility. And another coach, Naimuddin, said that BB, which is Bhaichung Bhutia, is an acrobat. So how did you balance this acrobatics with football, or how did you leverage your...
I think one advantage which I did have in my football career was I did gymnastic when I was a kid. And I think gymnastic is mother of all sports. So I'm sure a lot of parents are here, and if you have kids, I think it's important that kids does a gymnastic, because any sport, if you play, if you're flexible, you've done a gymnastic as a kid, it definitely helps you. And I did that. Because of that, I think I had a lot of advantage. And in fact, I've scored a lot of goals, which a lot of my colleagues say, how did you manage to score that? And that is, I think, one of the reasons why. But your initial thing where you said taking decisions, I think it's important for a lot of people going into business, corporate world, I think if they have played football, I feel that they will be more successful in taking decisions. Because football is again about taking a decision in a fraction of a second. And why today you have Messi's and Ronaldo's are the best players in the world, because what they decide, what they think, what they see, a lot of the players don't see that. And it takes fraction of a second to decide out of 3 players which is the best player to pass and what time, the time of release. And it's matter of second you've got to take that decision. So I think that's where I feel if you played football as a kid or any other sports, and especially football, you tend to become, I think, quite sharp. So a lot of coaches around the world says, I need smart players. So I think any player who are smart, intelligent are the ones who are very, very successful. So right now, a lot of coaches also does not look only at players at strength, speed, apart from a lot of things, but they look at how sharp or how smart the player is. So I think that is the most important thing for any coaches around the world to sign or select the right player. The player has to be very, very smart.
Okay. Our fourth, I come to our fourth growth behavior, which is inclusive. And before I come to you, let me make one disclosure rather. So when I was JP asked to facilitate this discussion, or rather, navigate this discussion, I was stressed. One is I was starstruck that I'm going to have this conversation with Bhaichung. And I didn't know from where to start. So what I did is, I reached out to some of my colleagues, and they're all sitting here. Mukund, Dikshant, Priyanka, that guy has helped me. I need support to prepare myself to have this conversation with Bhaichung. In context of our business, the inclusivity, we don't look at inclusivity in exclusive manner. So mostly otherwise inclusive is okay. I have male-female gender ratio in my organization, so I'm inclusive. But for us, inclusive is all encompassing, whether it is the workforce, whether it is technology, whether it is product category or product portfolio. So that's all encompassing. So how do you look at inclusive in a team sport like football?
I don't know how to put it, but I think it's very important that, I don't know if I'm answering it right.
I'll give you a cue. So you were the striker, yeah? But striker is as good as the team's feeding into the striker. So would that see as, okay, everybody contributed to your success, and which meant all of you contributed to success of Indian team in any football match?
No, I think first we'll have to, as a team in football, the most important thing for every player or the team or the fans was the team to win.
Yeah.
It wasn't about I'm scoring hat-trick but the team doesn't win. Then it does not really get you the real value and the happiness and joy. So I think everybody's focused, and that again comes down to coach and the manager who's in charge of the team. So I think everybody's aim first should be to win the trophy, win the tournament. And that is where I think the focus should be. Yes, there are players who would contribute in a bigger way. If you've got players like Messi, Ronaldo, they contribute in a bigger way. But there are other players who might not make the headlines, but they contribute equally because they're there to defend. The goalkeepers are the most, players, they're only always criticized by the media, the fans, because they concede goals, but they make a lot of saves, they don't really get that kind of headlines. So I think in a team, it's important that everybody plays a role for team success, but that aim for everybody as 11 players on the field has to be for the team to win. And that is the most important thing for anything. So you've got to make sure that everybody's included in the same vision as what you have. And if that happens, I think the success is something which you succeed as a team.
Okay, so we have talked about football. Those of you who are aware, well, those who are not aware, Bhaichung has also dabbled into politics. Yeah? And not dabbled from the fence, but deep dived into politics, so much so that he has floated his own political party. And in fact, in the afternoon, I was having a conversation with him asking that, is there a no-go area? He said no. everything is out in the open and I'm transparent and fine to talk about it. So, coming to your stint in politics, which you have just started, so do we see you playing a more active political role going forward?
Yes, that's the reason why I started my own political party with my few friends. In fact, I started my political career with Trinamool Congress in Bengal, and I realized that it was more of putting it from top as a star thing, and which I did not really enjoy. So I resigned after 2-3 years, and I said, if I want to get into politics, then why don't I go back and be connected with the people where I am? And a lot of footballers, film actors, actresses, try and everybody jump from the top. But I wanted to take a new challenge by starting on my own. And trust me, it's a nightmare thing. It's a very, very difficult thing to start your own political party. And in fact, fight some of the established parties in Sikkim. We had a party which was there for 25 years, longest serving CM. Now, 2019, we brought in the new government. I was in opposition then. And then now the current government is also a regional party, which is another 15 years. So Sikkim is mostly a regional political party base. That's why I started my regional party as well. So to challenge two political party who's been there for last 30, 40 years and a population of just 4 lakh people in a constituency, you've got only 78,000. So to break that into is a big, big challenge. But that is the best thing about it. You've got to take those challenges because you can just jump into one political party. And I had offers from the local regional party to fight in a very good seat and get elected as one of the MLA or ministers. But I did not take it. I didn't take offers from both the regional party who are very, very strong. I said, I want to develop a new party, give in a new vision and bring in new people. And that's a challenge which we're still fighting. So that is what I am. And I think in football, that's what it teaches you. Try and sometimes take risks, take gambles, try and bring in good change. At the end, it's just not about winning as well. It's also making a difference. And I feel there are a lot of wrong things that's happening in Sikkim and Northeast politics. And I think we require good people. And I feel sports person should come into politics because sports people are the ones who does not succeed shortcut. I think every success for them is through it's through dedication, hard work. And I think that's what we need to bring in politics as well, in just not in Sikkim, but India. A nice, dedicated, sincere, transparent, honest, good politics.
So now that you are in politics, if I ask, what are some of those learnings from your sporting days, which is your footballing career, that you would like to replicate?
I've lost two elections. And I've come back and made my own political party to make it even harder to win it. And that's the challenge. I think I wouldn't get it. Obviously, sometimes for a lot of actors and footballers, cricketers, it's easy to win. Because you get into a party, they give you a good seat and you tend to win and become MLA or Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha or a local MLA. But as I said, I felt that I want to take a new challenge. In fact, in football, when I started playing, when I first played my India in 95, 10 of my players along me were all senior players. I was just 17 when I I was 17 plus 18 when I made my debut for India. And I looked around all the 10 players, all senior players. All the senior players had job when they were playing for India. Some were working for banks, some were railways, some PSUs. And I was the only one, just an 18-year-old boy just playing. And after I played India as well, and I was in East Bengal, I got a lot of offers from Railway, I got offers from PSUs, State Bank of India, but I did not take the job because I wanted to completely focus and play football. And a lot of my senior players, including coaches, said, what are you doing? Are you stupid? You should be taking the job because your career is set, you have something to fall back on if tomorrow you're injured, things like that. But I did not take it. I took a gamble. I said I want to focus completely and just play. And not get a job and do something else as well. And that was the mindset which me and few of my friends later on with players like Renedy, a few other players, some other players, even I think Alvito Dikuna, a lot of us became professional. So that was a mindset we brought in. Now today when I look at the national team or ISL players, you see today's national team players, out of 11, Nobody is working in any PSUs, bank or railways. They're all professional. And today you will see players, in fact, leaving railways, leaving army jobs, leaving PSUs to play professional. So that is the mindset, at least our generation of players started it. And today we feel nice that, the players are completely focused, professional. Obviously they're taking a gamble. It's a risk. They'll have to work hard to succeed. And that's how, it started. So sometimes I think it's important to take those gambles, and you take it for some time, try it, and if it doesn't work, then I think you say it's not going to happen. I quit, I leave my politics and do something else, do my farming in my village.
So, we are coming to rapid fire round. If you have a celebrity guest and you don't do rapid fire round, that's grave injustice to the celebrity, and I'm feeling a celebrity today myself. So, two celebrities getting into rapid fire round. So, the footballer that you admire the most?
Again, it's been a lot of players have come and inspired. It's not been one player. When I first watched football on television was 86, and Maradona was somebody that inspired me and I think our generation of players quite a lot. Then after that, a lot of new players kept coming. I was a big fan of Brazilian Ronaldo. Yeah. Then there was Romario. But right now, if I have to pick up one player, I would pick up Messi.
I had kept some secrets for the end, but since you have taken Maradona's name, today I learned that JP is 56th cousin of Maradona, and that was told by Sunil Lobo. And JP did not deny it. He didn't confirm, but he didn't deny. Okay.
I think if Maradona obviously is the greatest of all time, is only because I think football is a team sport. Yeah. And I think there's only one person in the world that's won World Cup single-handedly is Maradona. Even Messi's not done it. Even Pele's not done it.
The hand of God?
No, but I think it's 86 World Cup was a Maradona's World Cup. Yes. And none of the players, I think, in next 100 years would ever win a World Cup single-handedly. And I think Maradona has won it single-handedly in 86. I think that's something nobody would be able to match it.
Your favorite international football club?
I support Arsenal FC. Yes.
Which one?
Arsenal FC.
Arsenal, okay. Your sporting icon outside of football?
Again, quite a lot of them. Right now, if you ask me, I would say Federer used to be aspiring. So yeah, he's just retired. So
yeah. Your biggest regret on field, if any? Any regret that you had on field?
So regret, obviously I went to England, I played in second division, and my obviously dream was to go there and play in the Premier League, which I did have an opportunity, and I did go into trials and I did well. I was there for 3 years playing in England, and the final year I was doing quite well. The pre-season, it went very, very well, and that was a season I thought I'll do well. But I had a major ligament injury and I was out for 7 months. So then my contract got over. I came back. To play in Premier League was something I always dreamt of, and which I thought in England, when I started in second division, I'll climb up, but that didn't happen.
Most memorable moment during your playing career? Anyone that you would remember for? I know there will be more. Yeah, I think but the most memorable.
The derby in Kolkata between East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, which was watched by almost 50,000 people on stadium, and the derby obviously is a big game in Calcutta. It's a very different experience because both the clubs have huge fan following. Emotions are very, very high. The passion is so much; it becomes very aggressive as well. And playing in front of 140,000 people and scoring the first ever hat-trick in a derby in last 100 years. So that was something which is very, very memorable.
Okay. Do you remember the name of the choreographer who brought your dancing skills to the fore in Jhalak Dikla Ja?
I think her name was Sonia. Okay. Very experienced choreographer. In fact, I think I've heard she's based out of Goa and got a dancing school here as well.
Okay. So do you want to
I have not in touch.
Telling that your sis is here. No, just for those who don't know, he ended up winning that show, and the prize money that he got, 50% of the prize money he donated for a cause, and out of the remaining 50%, he shared 50% of that 50% with his choreographer. So that is, yeah.
Usually they don't get, and in fact, for any celebrity to win, there's a big hand of a choreographer,
Yeah.
and choreographers don't get that winning money. Is the celebrity that takes it. So I gave my 50% to her because obviously it was because I don't know how to dance, and it was mostly because of SMS, and she's put in a lot of effort to it. So I gave 50% to her, and the remaining 50%. Sikkim and that hills, that particular year had a lot of heavy cloud bursts and a lot of landslide, a lot of people lost their lives. So I donated to different NGOs as well. Yeah.
So do you think you're...
So I still owe some money from Leander to come into my account.
Okay. So do you think that acrobatics that you learned during your
It
childhood,
did
helped
help.
you in your...
It did help a lot. Trust me, it did help. I was not dancing. I was only doing my acrobatics. So that is how I won, I think.
Okay. Thanks, Bhaichung. Now, I had my celebrity moment, and I will still have it for a couple of minutes. Shall we do that after a Q&A? So now I open the floor for you to ask any question.
Have one.
Yeah, please.
I think you kind of answered it already, but Argentina or Brazil?
Argentina.
Good answer.
Though I am supporting Argentina because
You
it's
are
the
taking
last,
a risk.
No, because it's Messi's last World Cup, I feel,
Yeah.
and I think he deserves to win it.
He deserves it.
But frankly speaking, if in terms of strength of the team, I think Brazil has got a stronger team than Argentina, but
Yeah. Yeah.
my full support is for Argentina to win it.
I want to ask one more question. You mentioned football is a sports team. Sorry, it's a team sport. Can you tell me a little bit about that team building and how do you make a team? Because we've been talking a lot in HCB about this. You can throw Messi, Ronaldo, Haaland, whichever star player you want into a field. They won't necessarily make a star team. So what do you think it takes for a team to become a star team?
See, as I said, when you start, and I'll tell you from the football angle to it because that's where I can connect more. Every player that comes into a team, now I also own a football club, United Sikkim, which is a semi-professional, and also I do a lot of grassroots Bhaichung Bhutia football schools. So any player that I sign in my team, first thing is we are all looking for the team to win. That is the most important. Yes, within the team you have training sessions. They're all competing for different positions because as a striker, I've got another 2 strikers there. If I don't tend to work hard, don't train well, don't work with the formation tactical thing, there's somebody else to replace. So I'll have to also work harder to keep my place. But at the end of the day, it's the team that really has to work as a unity. And that's where the coaches come in. You have your own tactical point, own formation. But the main concept of every individual player is to make sure that the team wins at the end. And that support system has to come in because there are times in football, you've got the left out, gone up for overlap, and suddenly you have a counter. That is where your left midfield has to come and give you that space to help him out. So there are occasions where even in corporate world as well, I'm sure you guys have somebody who might be not well or somewhere, you'll have to back. So I think in football, there's also looking after each other, at the same time making sure that you're pushing and you're motivating each other to succeed, and which is very, very important.
Hi, Bhaichung. I'm Nilesh. I'm a politician, so let me be open to you. You made a statement that you floated your own political party after working for 3 years for TMC. I mean, working with them for 3 years for TMC. What was the idea of floating and what is it you find that is not there with the political parties which are established? I mean, basically, what made you establish your own party? What was not there with the established political parties of India or the political parties which were there, regional parties which are there in your own state?
No, with TMC, when I fought election, I had retired from football. And I had moved back to my own state, Sikkim. And then they gave me a ticket and I fought from Bengal. And my politics, obviously, with TMC was in Bengal, which I was not living. And I came and fought. Obviously, I fought the Lok Sabha thing. And when I finished elections, after that, I realized I was going back and I was not living. I lost the election. And I knew that I was not staying there. And if I wanted to continue again, despite defeat as well, I need to be there meeting people, knowing their issues and taking it to, obviously the government in Bengal was then TMC. But I wasn't living there. I was not connected to people. People could not reach to me. I did not know their issue. So I felt, I think it's not fair for me to continue as a political person if I want to do politics in Bengal, because I was living in Sikkim. So that's the reason why I quit and then started my own thing in Sikkim, because in Sikkim, when you live, then you're connected with people, you know their issues, you relate to the issues there. And that was one of the reasons why I started. What was the second part? I think one of the biggest thing which we want to bring in with a lot of, not everyone, with political people is to bring in honesty. I think that's where in India we're not having that. I think a lot of political leaders, at least in my place, don't tend to be honest. And if your party, you've been fighting with a party for a very long time, and your party is out of power, then you tend to jump into the ruling very easily, and that's what has happened in Sikkim. 25 years a government ruled. As soon as that government lost it, 12 of his MLA jumped into BJP straight off. So I think that is very, very unfair, because people have given you a mandate, looking and voted for you on certain issues, and you don't do it for your own benefit. And a lot of political parties, just not political parties, I fought a football election few months ago. Look at football association people as well. They are only looking at their own post and their position. They're not looking at the state football at all. What am I getting? Which post am I getting? They're bargaining for that. Am I into executive committee? Am I into technical committee? What post am I? That's how the votes are going. They don't bargain for state. I fought elections for football this time. You should be having two candidates as a president sitting in a dais and discussing with all the state associations, what are you going to give to state? How are you going to promote football? Not a single discussion, not a single debate was there. In fact, I gave it a lot on the media, what I can bring it to the state associations, what I can bring it to the grassroots football. But nothing, the other candidate had nothing to say. He had a full political background, full political thing. Entire candidates before the voting were taken to a resort and voted, and they won it. So it's sad that when you don't bring in right people in the right post, then your country is never going to improve in any department. Today, if you know how to make if you know how to make shoes, give it to the guy who can make good shoes. But you are my person, you don't know how to make it, but I'll give it to you because you're my person. And that is the concept that's killing India completely, and that's through political process and the policies that's coming. I think if we don't change that, then I think we're not heading anywhere great.
Okay, Sunil. Is there a mic? Can somebody give a mic to Sunil? Yeah.
Hi, Bhaichung. It's happy to see you here. My question is, over a period of, your career, do you think the tactics of playing, what you see on Insta, what you see on TikTok, there are so many dribbling tactics that people use, and it's evolving, and there are very interesting dribbling. Do you think it's interesting and it's picking up what it used to be before versus what it is today?
Definitely yes, because the number of kids playing football today is, I think, 100 times more than what it used to be in our generation. And I run a football schools all across India. In fact, Bhaichung Bhutia football is the biggest grassroots football program in India. And we see kids coming in from all backgrounds. And good thing is, even I think a lot of the sports channels in India had given their data out. And in the data, I think kids watching football was more than, in fact, kids watching cricket, which is a very, very positive sign. But only problem, I think, with us in India is we don't have kids that infrastructure, we don't create that environment for them to go and play. And I'm sure, I think, Sir comes from Argentina. If you look at Brazil, Argentina, Chile, it's the environment, it's the culture that has been created. you know, the kids, if they have just small area as well in anywhere, in even any ground, you'll have kids going and playing, competing within each other. And all the biggest players in the world that has come, especially strikers, have come from South America. And if you look at their history and if you read their autobiography, they've all played street football. And I think street football is something that really develops you as a kid. And that I think no coaches can train you or make you. And that's how, if you play 4 hours, 5 hours, you're having 6, 7 players coming and trying to take the ball from you, and you're just trying, it gets you that natural intelligence, and you know, you tend to have that. Naturally, you can do that. And I think a lot of players coming from South America does that, a lot of street football, even Africa as well. And that is what, because the culture is so big, they're only talking football, playing football. And I think that culture in India has to come in terms of football. But now, Instagram thing, my son is a great player in PlayStation as well. So I'm saying you've got to put that into the real ground as well, which he's trying. So I think we need kids to come and play more on the ground, and make sure just not him, but we need other kids to come and, you know, have that kind of atmosphere created so that they compete, play. And a lot of kids below the age of 12, I think if they can just compete and play with their friends, that really develops. But after a certain age, yes, you need right academies, center, coaches to go in and train. But at least till the age of 11, 12, that ground, village level is something you'll have to come.
So, no, JP, as we talked that at HCCB we give back to community, Bhaichung is giving back to football through his football academy.
So I'm waiting for Coca-Cola to come and sponsor now.
Yeah. So, okay, we have got 2 football. One we will give to you to not to test your dribbling skill, but just to have the pleasure of seeing you dribble the ball in our presence. And then we have got another football which we would like you to autograph, which we'll keep in our experience center. So we will get both football. Yeah, I know. One ball and one option, and whatever money comes, for doing navigating this discussion. Okay, thanks. Any one last question from audience? Just one last question. Can somebody give him mic?
Hi, Bhaichung. Nice to have you in Goa. Like him, I'm also a politician, but unlike him, he's a successful, I'm an unsuccessful politician. Okay. You know how politics is. It's been dirty. It's actually been dirty. And with due respect to the Honorable Minister here, I would want to say that a common man always thinks of ideal politics. Only question to you, after you have also fought 2 elections, I have also fought 2 elections and lost it, would want to ask you, do you think that the ideal politics can be played in today's world?
See, I think at the end, politics is also about winning, and you've got to win. It's very, very important. In fact, till the last election I contested, I was just listening to Pranab Mukherjee's advice. Pranab, I had met him once through colleague, and he said he's lost 4 or 5 elections and all that. So I don't mind then. But yes, at the end, I think politics is also about winning. But yes, sometimes you need to be in the right political party to win it, because politics is also, at the end, it's all about organization. And we've seen that in Indian politics, we only fight through a single leader of a political party and elections are fought, and which I've seen itself, because today in Bengal, if anybody has to fight politics, they fight on Madam Mamata Banerjee's face, and that's with a lot of other political parties. So I think organization is very, very important to build, which I've, through my own experience. Ideal politics is still can be played, but if you have that organization that's been built to really pass on that message, to see that, you know, your message is gone. At the end of the day, I think it's perception, what people think, and what are you giving it to them, what it has to be reached out to them, and they need to be convinced. And that can only be reached out through organization, which I feel. But I think there is still scope for good politics, and I'm sure good politics will come into, though there are a lot of good politicians in India across. I won't say that all the politicians are bad and all the political parties are bad. There are a lot of good politicians as well. And sometimes a lot of good political leaders, individuals, also tend to get into party which a lot of people think it's a bad party, but they have to get into it because it's strong. So I think it's about individuals' perception, saying that this party is bad because this, that, other, he'll say this party is bad. But at the end, I think it's individually to really see that what you want to do, your, your ideology has to be strong, your commitment, what you want to do has to be strong. But sometimes you might tend to be in wrong party to have that. But if you win it and then make that example, then I think that's how you set it. So it's about winning. I think if you win it and bring in the right things, then I think people will tend to. Yeah, thank you.
Good. Yeah, good. Thank you. So now may I invite JP to come on the